it's Carolyn from Homesteading Family, and you guys have been asking for videos about handling the milk that comes in from our milk cow and making milk products with it, like cheese and yogurt, cream cheese, cottage cheese, kefir, all these wonderful things. Butter's important in our house. And so I am going to start doing a series of videos to show you guys how to handle milk as it comes into your kitchen and how to use it to create wonderful products. So today I'm going to show you what to do right when you get your milk in from the milking the cow, right on through to straining it and getting it into the refrigerator. Now this is a really important part of this process because depending on how you handle this step, your milk will either go sour very quickly or it can last for a really long time. In fact, you can have milk that stays good and sweet for 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks. I've heard a few people say they can get theirs to 2.5 weeks staying sweet in the refrigerator without any off flavors or anything like that. And that has to do with your cleanliness. So what does that mean? Well, you've got cleanliness when you're out in the barnyard with your cows. You have cleanliness of your milk bucket to make sure that you're not getting extra barnyard bacteria into your milk. But then you also have your kitchen cleanliness. The jars need to be very clean, or whatever you're going to store your milk in. And you know, these glass jars, these are the 2-quart or half-gallon ball jars, are just a wonderful thing for this. You can use gallon jars, but we find we have so many small hands here in the house with all of the kids wanting to drink milk that those bigger gallon jars are just really hard to hold on to and pour. And so this is a great way to have something you can really grip real well. They're easy to work with, they can go right into the dishwasher, and they're just really easy to get very clean. Now, hot water and good dish soap are clean enough. You do not need to sterilize these unless you are really looking to do something like selling your milk or something of that sort. You know, the glasses that you're going to be drinking your milk out of have not been sterilized. These don't need to be sterilized either. So just very clean. And you know, I'm a real stickler for that. If I look in and I see any sort of particle or any cloudiness, I send it back to the wash department and go get a fresh jar. We have probably over 100 of these jars on hand because at any time we could be getting 5, 6, even up to 8 gallons a day, and it kind of changes with the season for the milk cow. Also, you're going to want to have your lids, and your lids likewise need to be very clean. These are the BPA-free storage lids, the plastic ones. I find that these are the easiest to work with rather than the metal 2-part canning lids because you know, they're all one part. Again, they're easy to throw in the dishwasher. You don't have that rubber seal that eventually breaks down on, like on the canning ones. Then you need a good funnel. Now, stainless steel. Please don't use the plastic. Plastic takes on bacteria and flavors and just won't let go of it. Eventually, you're going to have problems with your plastic. So please go with a good stainless steel. And again, this needs to be very clean, and you need to be conscious of where you set this in your kitchen. This goes straight from being hand washed right along with our milk buckets, doesn't even sit down on a drying towel, and goes right up on a hook on a wall waiting for the next time we're going to strain our milk. This is a great one because it just sits right there inside the jar so perfectly. It fits the milk filters, the paper filters in it really well. You can get the bigger ones, the big dairy ones that go out like this, and those are handy, but you know, they're a lot harder to store in the average household, and they're a lot tippier. A lot of times those are much better suited for the gallon jars and up. So we really like this. This has suited us really well. Now, we have worked on straining our milk through all different ways. If you guys have watched very many of our videos, you'll know that I really don't like things that are disposable. I can't stand buying things just to throw them away, and I don't like creating extra trash that's not necessary. I just feel like it's a waste. Plus, it's not very sustainable. I have to buy it over and over and over again. With that being said, however, we have tried all sorts of reusable options for filtering our milk, and some of them work really well for 1 or 2 weeks. and some of them don't work so great. So I have not found a really good option for straining our milk yet. I think the thing that I need to develop next would be like a round piece of cheesecloth with a little bit of elastic or a drawstring on it to keep it settled right on top of this so it doesn't fall in and it doesn't then wick milk out over the sides of your jars. So what we have settled on is, for the moment, until we find a better answer, going with the paper disposable filters. Not my favorite answer, but you know, you gotta make it work sometime. So they come out and they look about like this. Now obviously this isn't gonna work very well. So we just take it and we just kind of fold a little like piece of pie right into it, right there. And it just sits right into this filter, this funnel, just about perfectly like that, snugs up to the edge, and it just makes a nice little cone so that the center is just pointing right down and you don't really have any gaps against the side wall of the funnel for the milk to kind of escape and go down the sides by. So when I get this bucket in, oftentimes it will have 3+ gallons in it, and it's just too heavy for me to stand here and to pour. So one of my favorite other things that I like to keep on hand here is a really good stainless steel ladle. And this is a 8 ounce, so a 1 cup ladle. So I can fill this up pretty quickly. So what I do with my warm milk that's just come in from the cow is I go ahead and I just start pouring it through my filter. Now it's really important to go ahead and filter your milk every time, immediately when it comes in, because you know, you're going to get some hair, you're going to get maybe a little bit of hay, you've got all sorts of things that are going to end up in your milk, no matter how careful you are, if you brush your cow before, no matter how well you wash your udders down, you're gonna end up with a little bit of stuff in there. And that stuff is gonna sit in there and essentially start brewing and making like a bacteria tea out of your milk. And you know, being that we're working with raw milk, it's got a lot of good bacteria in there and a lot of enzymes and all sorts of stuff. So it's unlikely that that will make you sick. However, it will give you off flavors in your milk. And you know, who wants that? You want to drink delicious milk and good milk. It will definitely give your cultured products an off flavor if you're doing raw cultured products, like a raw milk kefir, or a raw cheese, even a raw yogurt. That will make those flavors really go off. And it will make your milk sour a lot quicker. So we want to make sure that you're going to strain this immediately when you come into the house from the yard while it's still warm. Now we hand milk around here. We don't use a machine. We like the hand milking. It's much more peaceful. The kids can do it without any help. It's a really good project around here for us. But I find that when we hand milk, for one, you have a greater opportunity to get stuff into the milk bucket because you're actually in there milking, unlike the machine is kind of a closed system. So you're more likely to get, you know, hair or some hay falling off of somebody's sweater that just fed the animals. But the other problem that I have with hand milking when it comes to straining the milk is that when Josh milks for us, he is such a fast, efficient milker that when he comes in, there is a layer of foam that thick. It's kind of like having a really good cappuccino come into the house and sit here. And that will just clog up the filter completely. All right, now once we get this filtered all the way, I'm going to finish this jar right here. And once the bucket gets down a little bit lower, I can pick this up and start pouring it. And maybe you're strong enough or you're dealing with a goat or something with a very small amount of milk. So you can go ahead and pour it and it will go a lot faster than that. But once we get this done, another really, really important supply for any sort of dairying, actually anything involving the homesteading life, at least in my opinion, is a steady supply of Sharpies. Yes, the pins, Sharpies. Now most of you guys already know that if you take one of these permanent markers and you write on a glass jar, They are very easy to scrub off in the washing process. So this makes a perfect dating system. So I write right on the glass jar, I write the date, and if it's an AM or PM milking. Now, these are gonna go immediately into the refrigerator, but one last trick I have for you is when we do this, we do not immediately screw down the lids tight. We leave them vented just slightly. That way any of the heat can escape a lot easier, and it helps the cooling process and avoids any condensation that could form on the top of the lid and drip back in. So that just really helps that. The next time I go into the refrigerator, I'll just tighten these down, whether it's 20 minutes later or 3 hours later. It's not that big of a deal. But that really is gonna help your milk to cool down faster and preserve that great flavor. For more videos like these, sign up at www.homesteadingfamily.com. Also, follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.